Women's cyclocross is currently experiencing somewhat of a golden generation. If you discount Marianne Vos and her frankly ridiculous exploits, this year would have seen 2 new records set for the youngest World Cup winner, and a third new record would have been set by another third different rider for the youngest rider to finish on the podium. Bear in mind these records are younger than even Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert managed. This year's Women U23 race is effectively an edited elite race. The top riders here could legitimately podium the elite world. So let's talk through the likely candidates to succeed Fem van Empel as the princess of cyclocross. 12 months ago in Ostende, Fem van Empel crowned herself world champion, a feat that is starting to look more and more impressive. Whilst Van Empel will be attempting to defend her title, her fellow podium finishers that day, Annick van Alphen and Blanca Vache, won't be racing. Both have moved up to the elite category, respectively due to age and sheer bravado. Van Empel's big rivals will almost certainly be 2 fellow Dutchies, Buk Pieterse, who was 6th last year, and Shirin van Anrooy, who after a massive injury early in last season ended up not finishing the Worlds. Especially with Vache now moving up and aiming for the elite title, these 3 will likely make it an orange party at the front of the race. All 3 of these women have put in some stellar performances this year. Van Anrooy crowned herself European champion and seems to have timed her form pretty well. Suddenly, she's been showing up on podiums regularly. The most regular podium finisher amongst the 3 though may well be Buk Pieterse. Pieterse has been desperately unlucky not to reach any victories this year. Her 2nd place in Overijse made her the youngest woman since Vos to podium a World Cup. She would then go on to finish 2nd on 3 more occasions and take 2 more 3rd places, winning the World Cup under-23 overall and finishing 3rd amongst the elites. Where Pieterse has been misconsistent, Fem van Empel has chosen her moments to shine. A slow start to the season picked up through November, and in early December, Fem became only the 2nd teenager, again after Vos of course, to win a World Cup in Val d'Isole. She then recently did it again to win in Flamanville, beating Pieterse in a sprint. Van Empel is also the Dutch under-23 national champion. These 3 are elite riders. They're easily good enough to podium the elite race. They're all absolutely brilliant. So whilst these 3 will likely ride off into the sunset, there are a few more names who would like to put up a fight. Line Burquet is my breakout rider of the year. The French mega talent is a known quantity to anybody who closely monitors mountain biking. She's the junior European and world champion in the cross-country discipline, and is unfortunately part of the generation of crossers who got screwed the hardest by the COVID-19 pandemic. Burquet missed out on her last year as a junior rider but as a first year under-23 at just 18 years of age, Burquet seems to be doing pretty well for herself. She's won 3 rounds of the Coupe de France and managed some incredible World Cup results too. Riding 6 Elite World Cups this year, Burquet showed off her technical ability to claim a 6th place in Overijse, frankly ridiculous. In early January, Burquet also became French elite national champion, and back in November, she was the only rider who could put up a fight against the Dutch in the European Championships. I can't work out if this course suits her or not, but expect to see at least one French kit near the front of this race. What you can also expect is some home riders performing well. Katie Klaus and Madigan Monroe are 2 very promising American prospects. Klaus is the under-23 national champion and part of the Cannondale CX World team, spending most of the season fighting for position between the top 10 and 20 amongst the elites. Klaus is someone who I expect could push for the top 5, and with the extra home support could pull off a pretty shock result, maybe even finishing on the podium. In equal measure, I'd expect the slightly younger Maddie Monroe to perform too. Monroe took bronze at the junior race in Dubendorf and was 11th in the under-23 race last year. However, there are only 2 riders from the 10 that beat her last year that will be racing this year. Monroe fits in with a lot of other Americans in that it's hard to judge quite what her ability and form is comparatively towards everybody else because they haven't raced much. Monroe did put in some pretty decent performances in Europe though. She top 10'd in Baal and she top 10'd in Herentals as well, which are fairly decent performances for a 19-year-old. Then as far as other outsiders, you've got a few more that could be worth keeping your eye on. These include Italy's Gaia Realini, Czech national champion Kristina Germanova, and the only Luxembourg rider going to the entire world in Marie Schreiber. Britain's Hattie Handon will also be racing the under-23 race, and especially if it gets muddy, Handon could be quite good. With the weather saying it will be dry, I expect it will be hard to make gaps. The only real place to get away will be the climb. Fem van Empel has shown herself to be tactically very strong, stronger than her rivals, and I think that is what could give her the edge here in Fayetteville, even if I think that Pieterse is outright stronger at the moment. Definitely between those two, although do not count out Shirin van Anrooy, and in fact don't count out Lien Burquet either. The long straightaways really suit van Anrooy, and I imagine the steep climb will suit the really lightweight Lien Burquet quite well as well. The women's under-23 race is the second of Sunday's 3 races, starting once again at 1 o'clock local time, which is 7 o'clock in the UK and 8 o'clock in Western Europe. This race has all the makings of a scorching battle and the foundations of a pretty healthy rivalry that could stand the test of time.